what I'm going to talk to you about tonight is really about answering the call. I believe personally that every single one of us has a specific call, that there's something that you've been called to do, something specifically that you've been equipped to do. You've got the gifts, you've got the skill, you've got the talents. And if you don't answer the call, then there's a probability that most likely no one else is going to do it on their behalf. As a matter of fact, I don't believe that anyone else can answer your call. And so if you believe that there's a calling for you to do something to possibly get to the next level, to incorporate your gifts, your skills, and your talents, let me tell you, you're in the right place tonight. Hey, do me a quick favor. As you're jumping in, you're tuning in, do me a quick favor, put in your city and your state that you're tuning in from so I could go ahead and give you a little quick shout out before we get started on this message. So if you would, just do me a quick favor, put your city and state. I want to give you a little quick shout out, say what's up to you before we go ahead and dial in on the message. But listen, tonight's message is called Answer the Call. And so if you at one point or another, if you have literally ever felt sort of like that knocking on your heart, where you just sort of felt like, you know what, maybe you do have a career right now, or you've been doing something now for quite some time, but you just feel like there's something inside of you that's saying, you know what, there's got to be more than this. If that's you, let me just remind you, you are absolutely in the right place. So I want to give a very quick shout out to Michael Glassy, who is tuning in from California. What's up, Michael? I see you out there. For those of you who are tuned in, do me a quick favor, put in your city and your state so I can go ahead and give you a quick shout out. Lewis Morier just went ahead and connected me to those who are listening in right now on the conference call line. I want to give a shout out to the people who are tuning in right now on the conference call line. And of course, for those of you who are tuned in right now on Facebook Live, I thank you so much for tuning in on a Thursday night Show Up for Your Life motivational live stream. Hey, listen, if you are in a position right now where maybe you're working a job, you've been a specific career path, or maybe you are an entrepreneur, you got your business going, and on the outside, people are looking at your life and they're thinking, you know what? You know, you are doing pretty well. Maybe they're looking on at you and they're thinking that, you know what, you're doing pretty well. You got a career, you're taking care of your family, you're taking care of the bills, you're making things happen. But even though, regardless of what it may appear to be on the outside, if you're feeling like you got something on the inside that's just sort of telling you, you know what, there's got to be more than this. You got something on the inside where you're just sort of feeling like this knock. You're feeling as if there's a bigger calling on your life. You're feeling as if your gifts, your skills, and your talents, that you can find a way to leverage those things and do something that's going to create more impact. Let me tell you, you're in the right place. I got a message for you. So before I dial in, let me just say real quick, how you doing to Michael Glassy out in California? What's going on to my man Darren Smith tuning in from Baltimore, Maryland? What is going on to the one and only Roz Jones tuning in from Jacksonville, Florida? What's going on, Roz? I see you, girl. And of course, I want to give a quick shout out to Moet Armstrong in ATL, Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, do me a quick favor. As you're tuning in too, before I dial in this message and we go ahead and hit the share button, because here's what I know. You probably got a friend, a family member that is just sort of going in through the motions. They are literally going through the motions. Can you believe this? Statistically speaking, they said that 7 out of 10 people are literally showing up to jobs and doing something that they don't believe, that they honestly don't believe is really truly their calling. In other words, it's a career, it's a job, it's something that they're doing to pay the bills, it's something that they're doing to sort of just get by. Maybe they're even really good at it. Maybe they're making a lot of money at it, but at the end of the day, it's not really what they've been called to do. And if you've ever felt that feeling as if like, you know what, there's gotta be more than this, then this message is for you. I want to challenge you to actually answer the call. That thing that has been knocking on your heart, that thing that's sort of been nagging you, that thing that you've been thinking about doing, but you've been hesitating, you've been procrastinating, you've been deliberating about it, you've been making excuses as to why you haven't moved forward. I want to helpfully share some things with you that's going to allow you to start stepping in that thing that you're called to do. And so once again, I want to thank those of you who are tuned in, give a quick shout out. We got Maryland in the house, ATL in the house, Jacksonville in the house, Baltimore in the house, California in the house. And for those of you who are just tuning in and dialing in right now, I'm going to ask you to do me a quick favor and actually hit the share button, because I'm pretty sure that there's a friend or a family member or somebody that you can connect with, or that's going to hear just a glimpse of this message, that's going to be able to really inspire them to do something that they really need to do. And so today I had the opportunity to do a training for one of my favorite clients, Bacardi. And normally when I say Bacardi, you're thinking of, yes, I'm talking about Bacardi, the spirits company, the alcohol company, the beverages that we know about. But I have the honor and the privilege to have a deeper relationship with Bacardi, other than just thinking of them as just an alcohol company, but they're actually a client. And so today I had the opportunity to do a storytelling training for people who are in the leadership position at Bacardi. And so what I want to talk to you about is that as I was in the process of sort of doing the training, I always open up with just sort of sharing a part of my story. And for some of you who are tuned in right now, maybe you never heard my story. I'm just going to tell you just a little piece about it. But what happened is, at one point I was actually working as a CPA. So one of the things growing up in my household, my parents told me, Andy, go to school, get a good education, and get a good job. And so I did that. I went to school to Florida State University. I got my undergraduate degree in accounting. I got my master's degree in corporate accounting. I studied like crazy for the CPA exam. I landed a job with one of the largest professional service firms in the world. I was working for this amazing company by the name of PricewaterhouseCoopers. And here's what I want you to understand. I'm working with this awesome company, amazing people around me, every reason to do well. I did everything I was told to do. I got my undergraduate degree, I got my master's degree, I got my CPA license, and here I am with this amazing company, every reason to do well, and yet and still something inside me is saying, you know what? There's got to be more than this. And so every day I'm showing up to this job, right, with these amazing people, with this amazing company, but yet and still something inside of me is saying, wait a second, Andy, there's got to be more than this. And even though on the outside there was this appearance of success, on the inside I was dealing with a lot of turmoil. And the reason why I was having turmoil is because there was a part of me that was saying, man, this is awesome, but I believe that there's more for me than this. I believe that there's something else that I should actually be doing. And maybe perhaps you've been there before. Maybe you were doing something, or you've been working for a particular company, or you have a particular business, or there's something that you've been doing. And guess what? It's been helping you to pay the bills. It's been allowing you to sort of make things happen, right? But yet and still on the inside, you're saying, you know what? As cool as this is, and even though I'm sort of getting by doing this, I'm feeling as if that there's probably something else that I could be doing. I'm feeling as if there is a bigger calling on my life. I'm feeling as if that there's something else that I could do. If you have ever had that feeling, I'm speaking specifically to you, because I want you to understand that's the exact feeling that I had. And so every single day, I was literally waking up. I'm going through the motions like so many people do today. I'm showing up to the job. I'm putting on my game face. And I was a hard worker. And on the outside, there's this appearance of success. But yet and still on the inside, I was literally suffering silently, because something inside of me was saying, Andy, there's got to be more than this. There's got to be more than this. Got to be more than this. And here's what I know. You've probably gotten to that place at one point or another where you just said to yourself, you know what, there's got to be more than this. Meaning that you came to the personal realization that as amazing as your life may appear to be on the outside when people look at it, or the fact that you have this job or you have this successful business, you're still feeling on the inside that there's something else that you should be doing, or you're still feeling on the inside that there's something else that you can do that's going to allow you to better leverage your gifts, your talents, and your skills. And I'm telling you right now, for about 1.5 years, I thought about and I contemplated taking a chance on myself. I contemplated, stepping out there, going after my dreams, doing that thing that I believe that I was called to do ultimately, which is to use my voice and my ability to connect with people, to be able to inspire people, to be able to move them towards action, to allow them to have a more fulfilling, more meaningful life, right? And so every single time I would literally think about taking a step and moving forward and make it happen, I literally would talk myself into it, and then guess what would happen? I would talk myself right back out of it. And so maybe you can relate. There's something you want to do, something that you're meaning to do, right? You want to write the book. You want to start another business. You want to go down another career path. You wanted to create something that maybe perhaps you've never done before. And so literally you talk yourself into it, and then you talk yourself out of it. Like no one else had to talk you out of it. You talked yourself out of it. because you're afraid of judgment, you're afraid of criticism, you're afraid of failure, and maybe even afraid of having some level of success. And let me tell you something, that's where I was at. And so for me, finally, in December of 2004, I literally was willing to take the step. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was completely afraid, but I did something that Joyce Meyer talks about. I was willing to do it afraid. And so here's what I want you to understand, that at some point, there is going to be a greater calling on your life. At some point, there is going to be something that is going to show up that's just going to be knocking and saying, hey, you got this gift, you got these skills, you got these talents, and this is a higher use for your gifts and your skills and your talents, and you can be able to make greater impact and touch more lives if you're willing to step forward and step outside of your comfort zone and make this thing happen. Now, here's what I want you to understand. When that calling begins to knock a little bit, it's easy for you to begin to ignore it. It's easy for you to start making excuses. It's easy for you to literally start building up a case as to why you shouldn't answer the call. And so here I am, I'm doing this training today, and one of the leaders who's sitting in the room is sitting in the room, and as she's sitting there, and she literally says this at the end of the training. She says, Andy, it's so crazy because I've been sitting here in this training and I've been watching you in your element. I've been watching you like do this amazing job of facilitating this training. I'm watching you at the front of the room. I'm seeing how you come alive. I'm watching you share these stories. I'm watching you connect with us, and you're coaching us. And literally you look like, because I saw you at the beginning of the day. We started this training at 9 o'clock. And here we are almost at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, in the evening, and your energy level is still at 100%, which tells me that you absolutely love this thing. I can see it. I can feel it exuding from you. And she goes there, she says, Andy, let me tell you something. It's so hard for me to believe that at one point you were an accountant. It's so hard for me to believe that at one point that this Andy that is at the front of the room was actually an accountant. Like, that's really hard for me to believe. And then she said this, which had me thinking. And she said, Andy, I am so grateful. And I think I speak on behalf of everybody else here. I'm so grateful that you decided to answer the call. Because if you didn't answer the call, if you weren't willing to step outside of your comfort zone, if you weren't willing to leave your corporate job, if you weren't willing to develop your gift, your skills, and your talents, we wouldn't even have this experience today. And because you were willing to answer the call, you have inspired all of us. And so here's what I want you to understand. Here's what I want you to get. You got to get this. There is a specific calling that is designed specifically for you. And that calling has been equipped for you specifically because you have been given unique gifts, unique skills, and unique talents. And what you are doing right now may not be the highest use of your gifts and your skills and your talents. And even though you've got this job, and maybe perhaps you're making great money in the job, and even though you've got this business and the business is doing very well, I want you to understand that there may still in fact be an even higher calling on your life. In other words, you may be able to take those same skills that you have right now that maybe you're implementing for somebody else, those same skills that you maybe have been sitting on, and you be able to leverage those things to help you to get to the next level, but not that, but to help you to be able to make the level of impact that you were designed to make. Listen to me carefully. You were designed to make it. Today, as I was conducting the training for my client Bacardi, and I was in there with these amazing women in leadership, as I was in the front of the room, every time I have the opportunity to get in front of the room and connect with people and inspire them and coach them and train them and build them up, I literally feel as if that this is what I was in fact designed to do. And here's what I know, that there's something specifically that when you do it, it's going to make you come alive. There's something specifically that when you do it, you'll be able to take your gifts and leverage them in such a way that other people are just going to look on and say, wow, they're just going to marvel. And it's just going to look so easy. Not only that, but your energy level is going to be through the roof. And the reason why is because when you do it, you actually come alive. Here's what I want you to understand. Most people, the only time that they come alive is on Friday when they know that the week is actually going to come to an end. Most people live for the next vacation. Most people live for the next time they get away from their careers, from the next time that they get away from what they do. What if you loved what you did so much that when you did it, that's when you actually came to life? I want you to understand this, that literally the majority of people, the thing that they do is not what brings them to life. The majority of people, that the thing that they get up and they do every single week is not the thing that allows them to tap into their gifts, their skills, and their talents. The thing that they do on a weekly basis oftentimes is not the highest and best use of their skills, their gifts, and their talents. And so here's what I want you to understand. Your gifts and your skills and your talents have been given to you. The way that you show up with those gifts and those skills and their talents, no one else can show up the way that you can. The only thing is, and the only question is, will you be willing to answer the call? Will you be willing to step outside of your comfort zone? Will you be willing to do the things that are required so that you can have the level of impact that you were designed to do? And so my question for you is this: will you answer the call? I want you to do me a favor right now. For those of you who know in your heart that there's probably a greater calling on your life, and those of you who maybe you're not ready to answer it just yet, but you at least know that, I want to at least get you to take the first step. And the first step that I need you to do is to at least recognize that there is a call. Because some of us, we've gotten so good at ignoring what the call is that we actually begin to believe that there's no greater and higher use for what it is that we're capable of doing. We've been ignoring it so much and coming up with excuses as to why we don't start the business. We're coming up with excuses why we don't necessarily answer the call. We're coming up with excuses as to why we don't make the career change. We're coming up with excuses why we don't leverage our gifts, our skills, and our talents to do that thing that we want to do. And let me try to make you understand something. When we do that, if you ignore it long enough, you can all of a sudden now you stop hearing the knock because you've been ignoring it long enough. So here's what I want you to do. Put your fingers on the keyboard and put hashtag answer the call, answer the call, hashtag answer the call. That's just the first step. That's just the first step that I just want you to do that. I want you to sort of engage in actually taking the action. Somebody right now just went ahead and put that the calling that they feel is that they want to become a motivational speaker. And Belinda, who just said that, I'm going to tell you, Belinda, answer the call. As a matter of fact, I want some of you right now, if you can, in the comment section, what do you think the calling is? What do you think the calling is? What's that thing that's been knocking, that thing that you've been wanting to do, you've been meaning to do, you've been putting it off, right? Because maybe perhaps you're like, well, I don't know how to answer the call, Andy. Maybe perhaps you're like, well, I'm scared. Maybe perhaps because I don't know if I have the resources. I don't know if I have the skills, the talents. I don't know if I have the right amount of connections. I don't know if it's going to work out. What if things don't work out? How am I going to figure it out? Listen, if that's you right now, do me a favor. And if you have an idea of what it is, I want you to put hashtag answer the call. Or if you know what the calling is, I want you to go ahead and type it in, because I believe wholeheartedly that every single one of you has a specific calling, that there's something that you can do. And what I believe that gets us stuck a lot of times is because we think that we have to have it all figured out. Somebody just said, well, I don't know how. Well, here's what I want you to understand. How is really not really the main thing that has you stuck. The first thing is you got to be willing to at least answer the call. Because here's the thing. If you want to figure out how to answer the call before you answer it, you'll never answer it in the first place. You see, when I decided to step out there and leave my corporate job and become a full-time speaker and a trainer and so forth, I didn't know how that was going to happen. I didn't even know what the first step was going to be. But what I did know was that the first thing that I was willing to do was that when I kept feeling as if, you know what, there's got to be more than this, I knew that the first step was that I needed to at least take the first step in the direction. Now, as soon as I was willing to take that first step, the next step began to reveal itself. And that's what I need you to understand. It's going to go step by step. You're never going to be able to see the entire thing. That's just not the way it works. That's not the way life works. All right. It's almost like, you know, when you're sort of, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where where you're walking in the dark, it's in the middle of the night, you're getting up and so forth, it's really, really dark and so forth, and you have an idea of the direction that you want to go, but you can't fully see. And so what you do is you take one step and then you sort of feel out in front of you, make sure it's okay. Then you take another step, you feel out in front of you, make sure it's okay. You take another step, you feel out in front of you. And then before you know it, you've made it to your destination. I'm gonna tell you this, a lot of times when you're answering the call, it's a lot like walking in the dark, right? You gotta first at least be willing to take the first step, right? Once you take the first step, you feel it out a little bit, and then you try to figure out what the next step. Then you fill it out a little bit, and then you take the next step. If you do that long enough, listen carefully, if you do that long enough, then what eventually happens is that you ultimately make it to your destination. Let me tell you something. I wish I could tell you that, boom, I left corporate America in 2004, and boom, right after that, I became a professional speaker. I wish I could tell you that. It so did not happen that way, okay? There's a lot of things that I had to discover. A lot of things I had to discover about myself. There's a lot of things that I had to try and fail at. There's a lot of personal development involved. There's a lot of soul searching involved. There's a lot of time that I had to take into really trying to identify what my gifts and what my skills and what my talents were. And then once I realized what they were, I had to find a way how to cultivate them. Then I had to find mentors and people who are doing what it is that I wanted to do. I had to sit at their feet and get the coaching and get some direction to try to figure it out. And so what I want you to understand is a lot of times when you decide to answer the call, you're not going to have it all figured out. But the thing is, you got to be willing to first answer the call. Now, here's what I want you to understand. A lot of us, we're so occupied with doing the little mundane, the little menial task on a daily basis in our jobs, in our careers, just busy work or things that we got going on in our lives, that we get so occupied with majoring in the minors that we miss out on this major, amazing opportunity that we have to answer the calling in our lives. So there are so many people, they're so distracted with doing all these other things that they literally are missing out on the opportunity to do something extraordinary with their life. And so here's what I want you to understand. One of the reasons why we don't answer the call is because we are literally majoring in the minors. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to stop majoring in the minors. Listen, stop with all this busyness. Stop doing all these things that you know is not really bringing you fulfillment. All these things that you know is not the highest and best use of your gifts and your skills and your talents. All this time and energy that you're dedicating to something that you know is not something that you get true fulfillment from, something that you know is not the best use of your gifts and your skills and your talents. And what I'm saying for you is for you to create a shift and change your focus to doing that thing that you know is going to be able to help you to take yourself to an entirely different level. And so we've got to, first of all, we got to learn how to stop majoring in those minor things, those things that are major distractions. Another thing is understand that when we major in those minors, guess what we learn to do? We get really good at ignoring the call. And that's what it starts sounding like this. When you say to somebody, well, you know what? I always really wanted to become a speaker. I always really wanted to become a coach. I always really wanted to start a business. I always really wanted to write the book. I always really wanted to have a happy, fulfilling relationship. I always really wanted to be married. Whatever that thing is that you really have a big, deep desire in that thing that you want to do, you're feeling it sort of like a knock. What happens is you then say, but I don't know what to do. But I don't have the resources. But I've been doing this other thing for so long. But I feel like it'll be too risky for me to do this thing. And so what happens is every time we say but and we actually put an excuse out there, what we're doing is we're actually ignoring the call. And so at some point, you got to be willing to do this. You got to be willing to make a decision. And it's a simple decision. And the decision that you have to make is, in spite of the fact that I don't have it all figured out, in spite of the fact that I don't have all the resources, in spite of the fact that maybe I don't have the right accolades or the things that I believe that you have to be able to make this thing happen, in spite of the fact that other people are going to look at me like I'm absolutely crazy, I'm going to make the decision that I'm going to at least take the first step, no matter how small it is, to at least move in a direction. For me, the first step was to just start thinking about the possibilities. And then I started just sort of looking around and started listening to books and tapes and audio CDs. And then after that, I built up enough courage to start believing that maybe perhaps I could do something. And then the next step was for me to leave my comfort zone. And so then I built up the courage to go in and give my letter of resignation at my job. Not because there was anything wrong with the job, just because I didn't feel like that's what my calling was. Then I had to do a lot of personal self-discovery and try to figure out what my gifts and my skills and my talents were. Then I had to develop those gifts and those skills and those talents. I had to find people who could help me, people who could pour into me, the people who could show me the way, people who had been down the path before. And so I share that with you because it was the year after year after year after year after process that literally was eventually that got me to the place where I started to feel as if I was starting to step into that thing that I was called to do. And so what I want you to understand is that a lot of times after you make the decision, then all of a sudden the things begin to show up. Do me a favor right now. If this is making sense to you, go ahead and hit the share button. Hit the share button because I know that there's somebody who is going to be able to get value from this message, and especially the little tail end part that I'm going to be sharing. But here's what I want you to get. I need you to understand this, that literally after you make the decision, then that's when things begin to appear. But the first thing is you got to be willing to make a decision. Somebody right now, go ahead and type in there, hashtag make a decision. Because what I want you to do is I just simply want you to make a decision without trying to figure it out, because I'm not asking you to figure it out right now, without you figuring out how you're going to write the book, without you figuring out how you're going to start the business, without you figuring out how you're going to become the speaker, without you figuring out how you're going to have a fulfilling relationship, without you figuring out how you're going to lose the weight. All I want you to do is just simply make a decision. And that's what it starts off. Ben Stein said that the indispensable first step to getting the thing that you want out of life is to first decide. Most of us never make a decision. You see, we flirt with the idea. We talk about the idea. We entertain the idea. We keep saying that it's something that we want to do, but ultimately we never make a decision. And see, the reason why we don't make a decision, because we know that once we make a decision, we got to follow that decision with some level of action. And so what I'm asking you to do right now is I want you to stop ignoring what the call is, because I know 100% right now, if you're listening in, that there are specific unique gifts that you have that I don't possess. There are specific unique gifts that you have that nobody else around you possesses. That these gifts, these skills have been given to you. Like literally, it is part of your DNA. It is what makes you unique as your fingerprint is this unique skill set that you have. There's some things that you do that seem like second nature, but you don't even realize that when you do it, you are so in your flow because it is what you were designed to do. And it is only the tip of the iceberg of what you can actually do with it. Like if you got serious about this gift that you have, if you got serious about it and you began to work on it, you began to develop it, you began to cultivate it, like literally you have no idea about the doors that will begin to open up. You have no idea about the opportunities that will begin to surface. You have no idea about the amazing things. Listen, one of my favorite verses, right, that says that your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men. Listen carefully. Your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men. I need you to understand this. Listen carefully. Before your gift will make room for you, you must first answer the call and make room for your gift. I'm going to say that one more time. Before your gift will make room for you and open up doors, this gift that you have of connecting with people, this gift that you have of creativity, this gift that you have of making connections, this gift that you have, these extraordinary gifts that you have, before that gift will elevate you, before that gift will open up new doors for you, before that gift will be able to support you and your household, you must first answer the call and actually make room for the gift. And so what I need you to understand is this. Right now, many of you are sitting on your gift. You are stowing it away. You're saving it. You're holding it on the inside. And you believe that if you hold it on the inside, then you're actually protecting it. But here's what I want you to understand, that things on the inside still have the capacity and the ability to die inside of you. Listen, I was doing the training today, and there's a lady who flew in from California. And she said that she has a particular client that has been affected by some of the wildfires that are taking place in California. So if you've been tuning into the news, you've been seeing these horrific wildfires that are taking place. And these fires have literally made their way all the way to residential neighborhoods. And you have people who have literally lost everything. And she said that there's this one particular client of hers who said that you don't have any time to respond when this actual fire is coming towards you. And she said that it's literally sometimes you get a knock on the door and they say, listen, you and all your family get out of the house, the fire is coming, right? And so this guy, seeing all the things that were happening, he said that he literally got his family, told them, hey, everybody get out in the car. He got in the house and he took all of their most valuable possessions and he put it inside of a safe. And so he got their passports, he got the money, he got the jewelry, he took everything and he put it inside of the safe. And the safe that he put it inside of was supposed to be a fireproof safe. And then he said him and his family got in the car and they just made it out in time before the fire made it to their house. And he said, thank God the entire family made it. Now, they got back into the car afterwards, once it was safe, to go back and assess what took place. And when they got back, they couldn't believe what they saw. Their entire house had burned down. We're talking about just straight char. We're talking about ashes. We're talking about debris. We're talking about losing everything. And they said in the midst of all the debris, in the midst of all the ashes, in the midst of everything, he saw the safe on the lot. And so he's thinking to himself like, oh my goodness, I'm so happy I got my family out of here. But he said at the same time, the crazy thing is, I'm so happy that I put all of our most valuable possessions inside of the safe. And so he gets to the safe and he punches in the code. And the code's not working, so he gets the key and he sticks the key in. He opens up the safe because he can't wait to get to the passport, the money, and everything that he put in the safe. And when he opens the safe up, he looks inside, and everything that was inside of the safe disintegrated. And he could not believe it. Now, here's what I want you to understand. You see, many of us, we take some of our most valuable possessions, our gifts, our skills, our talents, and we try to store them away. We put them in the safe and we lock them inside. We say, you know what? I'm not going to bring this gift and this skill, this talent out there, because if I do, what if I fail? If I bring it outside, what if I get rejected? What if things don't necessarily work out the way that I think? So you're thinking that everything on the outside may actually be able to kill your dream. You're thinking that everything on the outside may be able to actually kill your gift, your skill, your talent, that thing that you so want to do so very much. You're thinking that something on the outside may kill it. And so you keep it inside. You put it in the safe. You store it away because you're like, if I keep it in here, then it's going to be safe. But here's what you don't understand. Sometimes things can change so much on the outside that the thing that you thought that you were keeping safe on the inside actually dies inside of you. Do you hear me? He put everything that they had inside of this safe. The safe was supposed to be fireproof. At the time that he put everything in the safe, guess what? Everything was safe. Everything was secure. But here's what happened. The outside elements changed so much that what he put on the inside was no longer safe. What he put on the inside died inside of the safe. And here's what I want you to understand. Right now, there are conditions on the outside that if you're willing to answer the call, your gift is going to come to life. Your gift is going to begin to grow. Your gift is going to make it to that next level. But if you're so concerned about what's going on the outside that you decide to sit on your gift, that you decide to hold on to your gift, and you say, well, if I just hold on to it, it's going to be safe. Guess what? Things may change. Circumstances may change. Opportunities may change. And this gift that you have, that you've been sitting on, that you thought you were keeping safe, by storing it inside, it may in fact disintegrate right inside of you. And so you'll look back at your life and you say to yourself, what if? What if the life that I lived was a lie? What if I could have done more? What if I decided to take a chance on myself? What if I would have wrote the book? What if I would have developed my voice and become the speaker? What if I would have started the business? What if I would have decided to make myself vulnerable and try to be in another relationship again? What if, and what if? You see, Mark Twain said this. He said, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do as opposed to the things that you did do. You see, here's what I know. When we look back at our lives, most of the times, the things that we regret most are not the things that we did, but it's the things that we failed to do. And so my question for you is, will you answer the call? You see, I know for sure that there's a call, there's a calling, and it has your name on it. It's been designed specifically for you. I can't answer the call for you. No one else can answer the calling for you. There's a call. It's like a door, and it has your name on it. And on that door, there's a key, and the only person that possesses the key to be able to open that door that has your name on it is you. And here's the thing. If you choose to never open the door, then whatever is on the other side of the door, no one will ever be able to enjoy it because you're the only person that has the key. And so here's what I want you to understand, that at some point you got to be willing to answer the call. And I believe that when you do, you empower so many others to do the same. And so I told you this at the very beginning. I'm going to tell you again. I believe that there's something unique about you. I believe that you have this gift, this skill, and this talent that I'm telling you nobody else has it but you. But I also believe that if you don't answer the call, if you're not willing to get uncomfortable, I believe that there's a possibility that it can die in you. And I don't want to see that for you. I want to see you using this gift to make an impact. I want to see you using this gift to do extraordinary things. And so I'm inviting you one more time to just simply answer the call. Answer the call. Hey, somebody do me a favor right now. Number one, hit the share button. If you haven't hit the share button yet, go ahead and hit the share button. But if you're willing to answer the call, here's what I want you to do. And I see you all saying it right now. Will you answer the call? Just right now, put hashtag answer, hashtag answer. That's just let me know that you're going to make the commitment. You're going to make the personal commitment that you are going to try to figure out what that calling is, and that you're going to at least take the first step to answering what that calling is. Do me a favor right now, put hashtag answer. that lets me know that you are willing to answer the call. Want to give a shout out to Darren, who said hashtag answer. Shout out to Belinda, who said hashtag answer. That's right. I want you all to answer the call. There is a specific call, and it is only for you. Zoe said ring, ring, pick up the phone, hashtag answer. That's what I'm talking about. Answer the call. Betty Speaks said get uncomfortable and answer. That is what I'm talking about. I see you, Betty, right? So you need to answer the call. Answer the call. No one else can answer for you, only you, only you. And so I'm hoping that you're going to take this message, you're going to leverage it, and you're going to answer the call. Now, here's what I want to share with you in closing. I know specifically there are some of you that you understand that in order for you to answer the call, it's going to require that you develop your voice, that it's going to require that you be able to share your message, that you be able to share your story. Because some of you, your calling is attached to a book. Some of you, your calling is attached to a business. Some of you, your calling is attached to using your voice. But a lot of times when we do answer the call, the number one advocate of what it is that we do needs to be ourselves. And we got to be able to share our vision, share our message, and share our dream with other people. And one of the best ways for us to do that is to be able to share our story as to why we decided to answer our call. I share with you my story at the beginning of the message of how I was working as an accountant, and I ultimately decided to answer the call. And so if you're somebody that you know specifically that in order for you to advance your vision, in order for you to enroll people into what it is that you're doing, in order for you to have the level of impact, you got to be able to share your story and share your message. If that's you, I want to invite you to join me from our powerful 3-day transformational training that is known as the Master Storyteller Academy. My next training is going to be taking place in February, and I have just opened up registration. I keep these trainings small and intimate, so I have a very small, limited amount of seats. And if you're somebody that you know that you are ready to answer the call, you know that part of answering the call is you got to work on your messaging. You got to be able to share your message. You want to be able to have impact. You want to be able to connect with people. You want to be able to enroll them into your vision. Then listen, you need to be able to work on developing and mastering your story. And I want to invite you to join us in Fort Lauderdale, Florida in February for the Master Storyteller Academy. It is going to be a phenomenal, transformational 3-day training. And so listen, I know this is not for everybody, but there's somebody, as you're listening in, you said to yourself, part of me answering my call, I got to be able to develop my ability to be able to share my story. I got to be able to improve my communication skills. I got to build up my confidence there. I got to be able to drive my point and my message. I got to be able to say the things to attract the customers and the clients that I want. If that's you, I want you to head on over to Master Storyteller Academy. Fill out the application. It's going to literally take you like 1 to 2 minutes to fill out the application. And then you'll have an opportunity to book an appointment to speak to somebody on my team, and we'll give you all the details that you need to be able to join us for the Master Storyteller Academy. And we'll really be looking forward to you joining my Master Storyteller Academy family. We have a couple people that are tuned in right now. Louis Morier, Betty Speaks. I see you, Betty Speaks. Roz, we got Roz, who is also tuning in from Jacksonville, Florida. Andrew Simpson out in California. These are all people who have had the opportunity to be part of my Master Storyteller Academy training, who are tuning in right now. And you know, any one of them would tell you how amazing and transformational that particular training is. And so I'm really hoping that you're going to join us. But I want to remind you once again, I specifically believe that every single one of you has a unique and special calling that you've been equipped to do. And so I don't know what that thing is for you, but I do know that you're going to have to be willing to answer the call. I do know that you're going to have to get outside of your comfort zone. I do know that you're going to have to stop majoring in the minors, and that you're going to have to make a decision, and you're going to have to figure it out one step at a time. And if you do that, I see you, Belinda. Belinda said she's heading over to the website. Thank you so much, Belinda. And you can also connect with Betty Speaks and Roz Jones and Andrew Simpson, who all been part of training. I'm sure any single one of them will be able to tell you, Belinda, how transformational this training was for them. So I just want to remind all of you that regardless of what the call is, to make sure that you just answer the call. You do that thing that you know that you've been called to do. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying you're going to know all the steps, but I can assure you of this. If you answer the call, your life is going to take an entirely different meaning, and you are going to literally come to life in an entirely different way and make a level of impact that you couldn't even believe. And so listen, I thank all of you for tuning in and joining me for the Thursday night Show Up for Your Life motivational live stream. I want to ask you, if you haven't, and just hit the share button. I would so appreciate that if you hit the share button, because I know that there's somebody that you're connected to that will get tremendous value from this message. Hey, listen, I thank you so much all for tuning in with me. Let me tell you, woo, it's been a long day. I did a full day training. I tell you, I was feeling tired and drained in my voice. I've definitely got to rest my voice. I'm speaking tomorrow at an event called Millionista that's being hosted by one of my friends, Stephanie Nikolic, a powerful event for entrepreneurs who are looking to take their lives to the next level. I'm going to rest my voice, but I so knew that there's somebody who needed this message. And so all of you inspired me to sort of push through it and make sure that I delivered this message tonight. So I hope you got tremendous value from it. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I will see you same time, same place next week. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. God bless.